3, 2, 1. The Sidney Warriors are your 2007 Class C New York State Public High School Athletic Association basketball champions. The 2006-2007 version of the Sidney Warriors boys basketball team in part actually started with the end of football season, cutting into the beginning of the basketball season. The football team made an appearance in the New York State Class C quarterfinals and was still finding their basketball legs at the start of the season. The fact that they were a little behind showed in the first scrimmage.
After the first scrimmage, no one thought, we were going to win the MAC. We were just really, really bad. And really a lot of people didn't even think we were going to make it into sectionals. They thought we weren't going to make it. We had that first scrimmage with Sherburne and Earlville, and we were awful. But I went home and told my wife, I said, we'll be 3-7 after Christmas.
The boys did their homework and started the season by winning the Windsor tournament at the beginning of the season, but then proceeded to lose to Shenango Valley. They got to the Christmas break with a 7-1 record and lost in overtime to Section 3 Class B power Sherburne Earlville on their way to a third-place finish in the UV Christmas tournament. The Warriors then proceeded to fire off 10 Mid-State Athletic Conference wins in a row with a dominating man-to-man defense that never allowed over 50 points to an opponent during that stretch. They allowed an average of 36.5 points in that 10-game run.
We make them work real hard. We pride ourselves in the defense. There's a lot of things we do in practice every day, every other day, where we're working on defense, fighting screens, how to fight them the correct way, how to help each other get through, communicating. We work on these kids constantly about the defense.
They finished with a 10-0 divisional record in the MAC, but since they played their 20th game of the year against Green, they wouldn't be able to play in the sectionals if they played in the league championship game. So the Warriors watched Unadilla Valley defeat Oxford in the MAC title game and prepared for sectionals with the hopes of their first sectional title since 2000. They drew the second seed, and their first-round game would be a rematch at home with the Oxford Blackhawks, who they beat by 5 points just before Christmas. This game was just like the first in that it was a hard-fought affair. Sidney held a 2-point lead at halftime, but the stubborn Blackhawks shut down the Warriors and hit 4 3-pointers in the third quarter to take the lead. Sidney trailed for much of the fourth quarter, but they shut down the Blackhawks shooters. Cody Westcott came off the bench to hit a 3-pointer with just over a minute to go to tie the game. Sidney went on to a 49-42 win to advance to the Class C semis. Next up for the Warriors was the defending Section 4 Class C champion Elmira Notre Dame Crusaders. These teams have quite a history of hard-fought sectional games dating back to the 70s. Sidney ambushed the Crusaders with their trademark man-to-man defense and by pounding the ball inside to Darren Martindale. The Warriors jumped out to a 38-17 halftime lead. The Crusaders would make a run in the second half, but would get no closer than 13 points as the Warriors set up a trip to the Section 4 Class C title game with candor via a 68-52 win over Elmira Notre Dame. The Broome County Veterans Memorial Arena was the site for the Section 4 Class C showdown between Sidney, who was ranked 4th in the state, and the Candor Indians, who were 22-0 and ranked 2nd in the state. Candor struggled against their semifinal opponent Unadilla Valley, who Sidney beat with ease 3 times throughout the season. The Warriors jumped out to a 12-7 lead, but about 5.5 minutes into the first quarter, Darren Martindale drew his second foul, sending him to the bench. Cody Westcott came off the bench to score a couple of baskets in his absence, and Andy Foote scored 7 points in the first quarter. Sidney went into halftime with a commanding 30-19 lead. The Indians put on a rally in the third quarter and managed to pull within 4 points at the end of the quarter. However, a rested-up Martindale came back in the game. He scored 9 points and was a dominating force on the boards. Troy Hawley's defensive efforts led to Cantor's Clint Foster to miss 20 out of 27 shots. The Warriors, playing with their team-first philosophy, never relinquished the lead in winning 51-47 to capture their first sectional title since 2000.
Feels great. I couldn't be happier. These guys played their hearts out. They fought for every loose ball. I couldn't be prouder.
We knew we could beat them. We just had to play our best, and that's what we came and did, and came out on top.
Kids are turning around after that very first scrimmage and to play like they've been playing. You know, and Andy Foote, credit to him, he's been saying since like the first week of practice, we get together afterwards and we say team, he wanted to say Glens Falls, and maybe we're headed there.
Next up for the Warriors was a trip to Oneonta State's Alumni Fieldhouse for a state Class C quarterfinal matchup against the Lafayette Lancers from Section 3. The Lancers overcame an 8-point deficit to Frankfort Schuyler and won 67-57, setting up this quarterfinal matchup. The Warriors were flanked on the baseline by Sid Nation Domination, an ever-growing student section whose loyalty and dedication to the team is unparalleled to any student section I've ever seen. This game had the markings of a heavyweight fight, as it took both teams a while to feel each other out. The Warriors managed to end the first quarter up 13-11. In the second quarter, Sidney went to their bread and butter, or as one newspaper reporter puts it, fire and ice. I'm talking about team leaders Andy Foote and Darren Martindale. Behind them and their team's stifling defense, the Warriors went on a 19-5 run in the second quarter to go up by 16 at halftime, much to the delight of Sid Nation Domination and the rest of the Sidney faithful. Sidney extended their lead to 19 at the beginning of the second half behind Brett Pendorf's three-point play. The resilient Lancers took back the momentum and fought their way to within 11 points at the end of the third quarter. Later, the Lancers went on a 7-0 run to make it a 49-43 game. Then Andy Foote took matters in his own hands and gave the Warriors a little breathing room before Lafayette made one more run to get within 5 with just under 2 minutes to play. The Warriors shut the door the rest of the way and beat the Lancers 65-54 and earned their first trip to Glens Falls since 2000, and they hope they can capture their first state championship since 1998.
I guess I got to believe Andy Foote when he says that on day one. When he tells us we're going to Glens Falls, I better listen to him.
We started to believe in it at the last couple games. We knew we could do it. We stepped it up. The defense was good. Oh, man, it's awesome.
Amazing. I mean, can't describe right now. I mean, that was the goal from the start of this year, and just to actually have it come true this year. I mean, amazing.
We turned it around. We stepped the defense up a little bit better. I think the scrimmage might have been an eye-opener. We do really got to come and play, and they've been playing ever since.
It's amazing. We knew we had potential. It's just a matter of everyone stepping up and going 2 sports in a row. It's amazing. Nothing better.
The Warriors fired up the bus, and along with Sid Nation Domination and a bunch of fans, they headed to Glens Falls for the New York State Final Four. Their opponent in the semifinals was the Schenectady Christian Falcons from Section 2. The Falcons know how to put up three-pointers, as they've hit 148 this year. Sidney's only hit 72. The game started out with Brett Pendorf hitting a three-pointer to put Sidney out in front. Things quickly turned physical, and the Falcons ended the first quarter up 12-9. The Warriors faced some adversity as starters Brett Pendorf and Troy Hawley sat out virtually the entire second quarter with 2 fouls apiece. Quinn Dorsey and Cody Westcott came off the bench to pick up the slack. Despite the setback, Sidney managed to turn their 3-point deficit into a 22-19 lead at the halftime break. Halfway through the third quarter, Schenectady held a 27-26 lead. However, an Andy Foote layup off of a pass from Parker Umbra gave Sidney the lead and ignited a 14-6 run to put them up by 8 at the end of the third quarter. The Falcons managed to pull within 4 during the early part of the fourth quarter, but Darren Martindale took over, scoring 8 points in the fourth to ice the victory for the Warriors and send them to their first state championship game since 1998. The Class C championship pitted Long Island's Friends Academy Quakers against your Sidney Warriors. The Quakers defeated defending Class C champ Campbell Savona in overtime to reach the final. The Quakers got the first basket of the game, but Andy Foote hit 3 3-pointers in the first quarter as the Warriors jumped out to a 21-8 lead. In fact, the Falcons were held without a basket for a span of about 6 minutes, which extended into the second quarter. Sidney took a 37-26 lead into the halftime break. The Quakers' John Williams took over, and the Quakers went on a 6-0 run to pull within 39-32. However, Williams got into foul trouble and would later foul out. The Warriors went on an 11-4 run to all but seal the victory. Sidney won the game 69-47 to become the first Section 4 team to win 3 state titles in basketball. Andy Foote was named the MVP, with Darren Martindale making the all-tournament team. Parker Umbra won the Sportsmanship Award. Let's hear from the Warriors.
Butterflies in my stomach. Just couldn't even, really hasn't set in what happened yet. I mean, I'm really not that shocked yet, but I mean, just won a state championship out there, and it's just amazing.
I'm just thinking about celebrating now. I'm loving it. All the 4 seniors, the 4 seniors that start, just everybody on the team 1 through 12, and 3 coaches, just all the fans, all the excitement. It just feels so good right now.
What about Sid Nation domination?
The students here that travel with us all year round, every game, painting up. I mean, amazing. They've been great. I mean, being a teacher in the school, I know all those kids, and they followed us. They've gotten stronger and stronger and stronger as the year went on. They came up with this Sid Nation domination thing. They developed T-shirts. They're painting their faces. They're awesome, and without them, I don't know if we could have done this, and we did that for them.